Good morning, rise and freedom. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all today. Happy Thanksgiving week. We're very thankful to have you watching and listening and joining us live. I would also be very grateful if you would click that like button. I'm Austin Peterson. This is the Wake Up America show, and it's time to rise and freedom. Yes, it's morning in America again. Look at you, beautiful people. How is it you get so good looking so early? Do you just roll out of bed looking like that today? Oh, I'm going to make you feel good today. And it's not just through chemical means. It's not just through chemical enhancements like those delicious boxes of founding flavors sitting right over there that you can get exclusively at forlibertyshop.com. It's because of my smiling face. I'm very thankful for you. Doesn't matter what you look like. You can be ugly like a toad. You're all like Shrek to me. Big green hairy O scratching yourself out in the woods somewhere. Who was it? Barney Styles or somebody saying they're joining us from Barney Styles, listening this morning from the Oklahoma deer woods. Don't get any ticks out there. Hopefully they're all dead by this time. It's going to be kind of warm today. Hope you enjoy a beautiful day out there. Barney Styles, get yourself a beautiful deer. Will Run Riot down in Springfield, Missouri. How you doing, Will? You've been a big fan this year. I'm grateful for you. We're going to talk about all of the things that I'm thankful for today. And of course, a big part of it is you. And we're going to talk about us and our relationship and what's been going on this last year and the last 2 years and what we have to be grateful for. It's just going to be a big old white pill. It's going to be delicious and healthy. And we're going to make America healthy again and make America great again. I'm thankful for Donald Trump being the incoming president of the United States. Boy, we'd all be very sad right now if Kamala Harris had won the election. There are reasons to be sad and to be scared. The national debt has surpassed $36 trillion.
No, God,
yes, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between.
No.
The national debt, which affects our future, our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren's future, the national debt is a major challenge that the incoming administration will tackle. But this time we have a secret weapon, a Department of Government Efficiency. Yes, led by the smartest and richest man in the world, Elon Musk. Can the richest man and smartest man in the world really solve the problems of government? If it's too big for Elon Musk, what hope do the rest of us have? Sorry. I mean, it's just, we're screwed. If Elon can't fix it, we're in big trouble. And Vivek Ramaswamy, of course, co-presidents of the Department of Government Efficiency. We're going to talk about that this morning with John Miltimore from the American Institute of Economic Research, IEAR, or as we call it in the biz, IR. They need to work on that acronym. Kamala Harris, oh, that laugh. You wanted to go away, and it did. We're going to talk this morning about where is Kamala Harris. I'm looking forward to playing a clip for you guys. I've got a billion clips, and that will come after we talk about what we're grateful for. But at the end of the show today, at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, we're going to speak to Angela McArdle of the Libertarian National Committee. She's the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. Her new title over on her X account this morning, I see it reads Kingmaker, which I find to be quite Kingmaker, quite a jaunty title. But let's give it up for Angela McArdle. She brought in a lot of libertarian votes for Donald Trump, even if she couldn't necessarily say she was doing that. I saw that there was some space on X last night with a bunch of American libertarians asking if they had sold. I think it was Dave Smith did a space where he said, have I sold out my principles for endorsing Donald Trump? Yes, but not for the reasons you think. But we'll talk about that with Angela McArdle today. It's going to be a great show. You're not going to want to miss Angela McArdle, chair of the Libertarian National Committee at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. I'll get her to talk about that and about what her thoughts are on the incoming administration and the Free Ross campaign, as well as other fun stuff. Just make sure that you strap in, get yourself buckled in. We don't put up with any lefty Bullcrap.
offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Thank you, Norm MacDonald. We miss you very much. I do have a million billion clips to play, but we are going to get to those later after we talk about the things that I want to talk about today. It's not going to be your typical show because I'm not exactly certain what my schedule is going to be for the rest of the week. Definitely no show on Thanksgiving Day. So let's talk about what we're grateful for today. Let's just do it. At the end of the show today, too, if I have time, I do want to talk about a friend who passed away. Chuck Woolery, the host of many game shows and a libertarian, or I guess a conservative podcaster, but he was very libertarian friendly and was very much a friend to me during my U.S. Senate campaign, let me tell you. Endorsed me for the U.S. Senate, and I really found common cause with him. In the final few years of his life. He passed away over the weekend, and I want to talk a little bit to you about Chuck Woolery and maybe a little special anecdote if I have time, as we mourn the loss of a sincere patriot this morning on the Wake Up America show. Let's give it up for Chuck Woolery. A life well lived, a life in public, which is often a dangerous and a scary lifestyle. I certainly know what it feels like to be in the public sphere. You're the man in the arena, but it doesn't necessarily always mean that it's fun. It's almost always more painful and more challenging than it is guts and glory. But if you've got the guts, you can have the glory, right? And I've got the guts. So keep them firing and head over to forlibertyshop.com this morning. No guts, no glory, no guns, no glory. So guns and butter are on the menu. Actually, some people do put butter in their coffee, but grab yourself a box of Founding Flavors coffee today. The holiday coffees will go away. Go to forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com, and get yourself a box of our delicious roasted chestnut coffees, or perhaps you would like our Martha's Mint. Stock up on them so that you'll have them throughout the year if you really enjoy them, because I know a lot of people do say, oh, we're going to have the holiday coffees this year, and I at first said I was not going to do them, but I decided to do it anyway. I'm not making any money on it, guys. I'm just trying to make you guys happy and drive sales. Get over there to the shop and get them. Get yourself some coffee, guys. Probably break even on it, but it doesn't matter. It's really just about serving my customers and giving them a product that they want, and gathering the customer data before somebody else can gather the customer data, so I can remarket to you and stop giving you all of this marketing jargon. Let's talk about the things that I'm thankful for. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners. Today we're going to take a break from the usual hustle of current events to reflect on what we're thankful for. So in this first hour, I'm going to talk about my reflections on gratitude this year. In the second hour, we'll bring on John Miltimore and Angela McArdle to discuss current events and their Thanksgiving thoughts as well. John Miltimore is a thoughtful, sincere, peaceful-hearted libertarian who I find to be quite thoughtful and quite honest. And I always appreciate his insight on things. We'll talk to him about the national debt, and then Angela McArdle about more current events. First of all, I have to say personal gratitude, family and friends, obviously the people who are nearest and dearest in my life. I have to say I'm thankful for my beautiful daughter, Hazel, who was born this year. Now, everybody's thankful for their new child and they're grateful they're in this world. But what is it that we are really thankful for? All of the dangers, the potential dangers that you've averted. Sometimes we are not thankful for, we don't say thanks for the dangers that we've avoided. But when you consider the state of the American medical system, the healthcare system, and the insurance system, that to have a healthy baby come into the world and not have to have them be in ICU or have any complications through childbirth, and have mother and baby and their health and their safety, that is a tremendous victory. It could have been very personally threatening, not just from the heartbreak of a child who may be suffering, but from the simple fact of the won't I be able to afford this extremely enormous care for the child that would have put me out in a difficult financial situation? Would we have been able to afford to take care of the baby? Those are real problems and challenges that we thankfully avoided. And I have to say, and we are a little bit older. I'm 43. My wife is 36. And so we are very grateful that we had a healthy baby. I am very thankful for that, and that Stephanie is healthy as well, and that she is doing well, and that she's recovering well from childbirth. It always takes a little bit out of a mother. You're never completely unscathed after you've given birth, but that sacrifice that a woman makes of her body, the ultimate sacrifice, is something that we as men should be grateful for, because that is what is a woman. That is what a woman is. She's a mother. She becomes a mother. And I know not all women end up becoming mothers for one reason or another, but I do want to say thanks and give thanks to all of the special mothers out there who sacrifice themselves, who sacrifice their bodies, and certainly my wife Stephanie sacrificed hers so that she could bring a child into this world. There is danger involved in childbirth, and a good, strong man, I think, and husband will recognize that and give thanks for a healthy wife, a healthy pregnancy. I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful that my wife has been a part of the Wake Up America show. She's been a part of this ecosystem of our show. She's been a part of the shop. She's been a part of helping to make me successful. Floby Tennyson says AP should also be grateful his hair is just turning gray, not falling out. Well, it's falling out too. Trust me, Floby. Dad Bod Baboon, he also says that I'm thankful I go home every day, the bestest boys and girls in the world. I guess my kids are cool too, and I have a wife. Yes, thank you. Hey, Kim McCurry. Yes, don't forget to get that box of Martha's Mint. But if you are healthy, or if you've had a relatively healthy year this year, I've had struggles with my lower back and with my I had the two base parts of my spine, like the two bottom spinal cords. I don't know what they are, the vertebrae networks. But I've had not herniated discs. Well, pretty much herniated. Yes, completely. Yeah, I guess you could say it's not slipped, but herniated discs. And that's been a real health challenge for me, especially because I'm so active and I want to carry my baby around, and it does hurt my back. But thankfully, due to modern medicine and steroid shots, I was able to see positive recovery and health restored thanks to modern medicine. So I guess thanks, Big Pharma, whoever manufactures triamcinolone. Steroids. Thank you to Big Steroid, whoever manufactures steroids that are used in shots like those. Definitely was a big help for me because it helped me to accomplish and this was something I didn't even know was a dream until it became an opportunity this year, but I became a Japanese karate sensei. Students bow to me and they say, "Oh, sensei," right? And there's a very special feeling about that when you go from spending years and years fine-tuning a martial art. I never really had a direction with my martial arts. Like, I wasn't like a belt chaser. And once I started to realize that I was like jumping around from school to school, from city to city that I moved to, I stopped chasing belts and I just chased knowledge and experience. And that ended up being my best guide because it took me to this city of Jefferson, where it just so happens that they needed a new karate instructor. And the years of nerding out that I spent learning a highly specialized martial art and the history of this martial art, I now get to share it with my students here in Jefferson City. And there's this little boy, his name is Jude, and he's not really secure with his parental situation. So I try and, in a small way, mentor him and to give him guidance. And he's very fiercely into karate, and he trains very hard in class, and he's very interested in Japanese culture. And so I've taken all of this, what used to be an esoteric knowledge that I had, and I'm able to mentor this young man and to give him something to be excited about. I gave him a copy of a book that is the autobiography of the founder of the Japanese karate that I practice, Shotokan Karate. And I gave him a copy of Gichin Funakoshi is his name. I gave him a copy of his book this last week, and getting to see his face light up with excitement because I showed him the book, and his grandma, who takes care of him, said, "Oh, we'll get a copy of it, right?" And they don't have a whole lot of money, so I just was like, "No, just take the book, right? Take the book and go and read it." And I'm thankful that I get to be a part of his life. I'm thankful for Jude. I'm thankful for my students. I'm thankful for Jefferson City Parks and Rec for their little. It used to be that when we would go into class, the mats were kind of dirty. They didn't follow kind of traditional Japanese karate rules. It was more of an American style karate, which it's a little more rough and tumble, a little more stinky, a little more sweaty. Matt's kind of dirty, a little dusty, right? So, but like Japanese karate is kind of like everything's very clean and very proper, and you wear proper uniforms, and everyone is respectful. So, I've been sort of doing my part to lift up the quality of the class just by cleaning the mats. Cleaning the mats. Everybody takes some responsibility, and we clean the mats. I'm grateful for all of my family, and I'm grateful for all of my friends. I'm grateful for Andy Opperman. Andy Opperman has stepped in a big way to help make my dreams come true in a way I didn't even know could happen. I've worked for years to try and build relationships with people like Andy Opperman, who I see eye to eye with. Politically, metaphysically. We kind of look at the world in a very similar lens. And Andy Opperman is a man of means. He's a man of capability. And people like myself, who are artists, I would consider myself to be something of a creative artist, right, have always needed people like Andy to be able to bring great works of art and incredible to be able to make contributions to mankind. You've always needed people like Andy Opperman, who are your partners, and partners in crime. But no, it's a crime. If you're enemies of the state, then I guess we are partners in crime. But I'm thankful for people like Andy Opperman, who have helped to give me the building blocks that I need, that are necessary to take the next step in my career, and to bring to you what I'm very excited to bring to you next year, which will be my first full-length feature documentary, and it is in production. And it is morphing, and it is growing, and it is building something that I think will be generational, and a real contribution to the dialogue here in the United States, and perhaps even around the world, if people are interested in hearing a story about what happened in 1946 in McMinn County, the Battle of Athens, coming next year to not a theater near you, but a streaming service near you. Hey, we'll do a screening on a theater if we can make that happen, but baby steps, baby steps. My extended family and my friends who have supported you, people like Quest Fanning, people like Camellia Peterson. You have to understand the sacrifices that people like Camellia make, people like John Miltimore have made to bring you quality morning talk shows, talk programs. John Miltimore and Camellia Peterson, they're taking time out of their busy schedules and putting themselves in inconvenient situations so that they can speak to you and offer you their thoughts and their insights. And I've been very grateful for them because of their generosity and what they have gifted to us. I'm very thankful. Sarah for Liberty writes, I'm very grateful for you and Steffi, thankful for this platform to meet new awesome people and to learn so much. Good morning, bigots, says Buck Nasty. What's going on over there? What are you doing? I'm very, very thankful for the people in my life like Joni Rankin. I'm thankful for Nelson65. Boy, has Nelson really transformed things around here. Everyone making little contributions, big contributions, it all working together. We are doing amazing things. Nelson has really changed things around the studio, especially on Freedom Family Fridays. Nelson Otto gets up bright and early before everybody else and joins me in the cold in Jefferson City, even when it's kind of sketch and a little sus on the streets with people hanging out, and it's a little like, let's hope we don't get shot. But Nelson gets up early, and I'm hopping. Just picture this. It's cold, it's freezing, it's me, it's Stephanie, it's baby Hazel in the back, right? And Nelson is there as soon as I arrive at the studio, and I'm getting the baby out. We've got the diaper bag. We've got my backpack. We've got the camera bag. We've got this. We've got, Stephanie's, we're all like walking in with tons and tons of bags and a baby. And I've got the baby, right? And we're coming in, bright and early. And Nelson and Stephanie, if she can, because the baby's maybe sleeping if we're lucky, right? If she's not, then Stephanie's like tending the baby. And Nelson is just sitting there, busting his butt and plugging in cables, setting up the camera, doing all this stuff that I used to have to do all by myself. And like, I'm sweating. I'm just like, oh God, please let the show, please come. Look at it. I am so thankful for Nelson65. Can we give it up for Nelson? Yes, Nelson has made an incredible contribution to the Wake Up America show. Sign of Jonah says, good morning, all you people. He says, I was going to drop a message to AP over on X, but AP only allows blue check marks to chat. Fascist, LOL. I didn't set that setting like that. That's not me. That's some Elon thing. I'm grateful for the listeners and supporters of the For Liberty Network. I'm grateful for the new 2 shows. I'm grateful for Daniela Pensack and for Brian Piotr and Jordan Marinovich, king of all libertarians. I'm grateful for them because they have stepped in a big way. They have learned so much, and they have put in their blood, sweat, and tears, their sweat equity, and some of their own cash to get equipment and to get things together to build a new libertarian talk show network, and it's working. It's exciting. ForLibertyNetwork.com. I'm thankful to Rumble and to Locals for helping to make ForLibertyNetwork.com available. I'm thankful to Rumble for standing up for free speech because Chris Pavlovchik and our friends Dylan Abad and Siraj Hashmi, Rumble has given me so much promotion in the last year, free promotion in the last year. Now I feel like I've earned it because I've worked hard and I do make good content and it makes their website look good. But I will say that I think that without their support, without the boost that they have given me in the last year, we would definitely not be as far ahead as we are. Thanks to the free speech protocols and thanks to the promotion over at rumble.com, the Wake Up America show is more successful than we would have been without it. I have to acknowledge you, the supporters, the listeners. I know many of you are regular listeners. There are many of you out there perhaps who are just lurkers. Maybe you don't even like or you don't comment on the show, but you're there and you're listening. And maybe you've been a regular listener and a lurker and you haven't participated in the chat, right? But you're there, you're hearing my voice. And if you're out there and you're one of the, I see 111 people over on Rumble, and I'm sure there are many others over on X. If you're one of those silent listeners out there who have been diligent and faithful and have been joining us for a while, and you know the show and you listen to Freedom Family Fridays and you've been joining us regularly and you haven't interacted in any other way other than just to listen, I'm grateful for you too. But for the people who have engaged, for the people who have commented in the chats, for the people who have offered me critical feedback, and people who especially have made financial contributions, you have kept our mission alive now. For over 2 years, this show has streamed live 5 days a week. A steady commitment to this show, to this network, to the ideas, to this community that I'm building here at the For Liberty Network. I'm thankful to all of you who have contributed in your own ways. It matters when you comment. It matters when you click like. It doesn't make much difference perhaps to you, but those small little contributions all together combined add up to build something great. And I am thankful for you. Thank you, listeners, engagers. Thank you, donors. Mention specific milestones, top performing shows. Obviously, one of the biggest shows that we've done was the show of the day after the election when Donald Trump won the election. I'm thankful Donald Trump is the next president of the United States. I'm thankful for Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm thankful for Doge. I'm thankful for Elon Musk. Quest Fanning, I'm thankful for the $10 he just donated to a great 2025. Yes, sir. Thank you. That reminds me too, guys, we are wanting to unlock the bonus content. Today's is very special because it is the true story of the first Thanksgiving. And many of you, I know, may know that tale and what I'm going for. But I want to invite you all today to make a donation live on the Rumble chat to help us to get that bonus content unlocked. If you want to unlock today's bonus content, it'll be $75. Can you bless me with something?
Can you bless me with something?
Oh gosh.
Money-wise. Please.
Can you suck it?
What?
Head on over to forlibertyshop.com. That's the easiest way to hit the $75 mark. The Department of Government Efficiency meme merchandise is the best around. So head on over to forlibertyshop.com and help to unlock that bonus content. All of the merchandise that's purchased from forlibertyshop.com during the live show helps contribute to unlock the bonus content. And today's bonus content is the true story of the first Thanksgiving, the true lesson of the first Thanksgiving. So go to forlibertyshop.com, buy yourself a delicious box of that Founding Flavors coffee that you see sitting right there on the screen. Don't you just love that beautiful setup? It's the best around. Go to forlibertyshop.com, and when we hit that $75 mark, either through purchases or through Rumble Rants, guys, then we will unlock the bonus content today, and it is a really good one. I've upped the quality of the bonus content, so of course the prices come up to match it. That's the free market. Don't get mad at me.
God!
No. Inflation. Blame the Inflation Reduction Act and Joe Biden. Stop it. Hey, bow to the Queen of Slime. We've got a great show for you today. John Miltimore will be joining us live at 8 a.m. Central Time to talk about $36 trillion national debt. Can Doge save us? Save us, Vivek Ramaswamy. You're our only hope. Thank you, Princess Leia. At 8:30, Angela McCardle, the chair of the Libertarian National Committee, to talk about whether or not libertarians sold their principles in voting for Donald Trump. Well, they did a big spaces about that last night. A bunch of butthurt, I'm sure. We'll discuss that this morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time with the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. It'll be a great show. Another 30 minutes to go. We do have, until John Miltimore, we do have a million billion clips. I will play many of these million billion clips, and they are newsworthy, but it is important for us to practice gratitude and to show appreciation. And today is the day that I name all the names of the people that I can to say thank you. For Kelsharian people who have come into our lives in the last year, 2 years, who have helped to transform who we are. Urs Mommy, Nancy, so many wonderful people, T. Mills and others, Tolly Owens, the Peterson's Patriot supporters, 1776ers. Thank you very much. Nelson, thank you for the Rumble rant. Good morning, John Rail. Thank you for you and your support. And Barney Styles, it's nice to see you, brother. Barney Styles says he's upped his quality. Now up yours. Terrible. I'm thankful for Angelo Pacheco. I'm thankful for Brad Beckman. I'm thankful for those who have helped me to make my dream a reality, who have come in and traded their time for money, and who have helped to make the behind the scenes run smoothly. I'm thankful that I've been able to financially maintain operations and grow 2 employees. And Stephanie's kicking in a lot of free labor as well while still raising a child. We basically there was no postnatal time off from, I was cracking the whip on Stephanie as soon as she was back to work. So, Austin is stern taskmaster. I had to change a lot of myself this year, and I have changed a lot. I've taken on several new good habits, and I'm fighting the bad habits and the vices. And I have successfully taken this network and this business in a new direction. It was going in a good direction, but I was a little bit, I would say, on tilt, to use a pinball reference. But once the operation started to scale up, I was really challenged with how to maintain the growth and then, of course, maintain the finances for the growth. So it's been a sincere challenge, and I'm thankful that the finances have stayed in place and have been able to finance 2 part-time employees, and I'm trying to take them full-time. And to facilitate the growth, we will need to financially grow and grow with new employees. And I've had 2 fantastic staffers, Brad and Angelo, who've done a great job. I'm grateful for freedom. I just want to reflect on the value of living in a country where liberty is still a cornerstone here. I have seen many cases over the years of victories for liberty. I have seen instances where the Constitution was used successfully to combat tyranny. And if you read the mainstream news, or you only follow accounts online that are typically doomers and always talking about World War III and the end of times, and this is going to be Russia's going to nuke us, et cetera, et cetera. If you only listen to shows like that, you might think that the Constitution is a dead letter and it doesn't apply, and that there haven't been any victories, or that liberty is not only losing here, it's losing internationally. Oh, I am here to tell you that that is not the case, that there have been big victories for liberty with constitutional basis. Let's talk about the Supreme Court for a moment here. The ending of the Chevron deference, one of the major, biggest regulatory overhauls that we've seen, the Supreme Court stepping in and overturning the Chevron deference was a huge win. And it is what will lead the way for many of the reforms that Donald Trump will start to make, hopefully, on January 20th when he's inaugurated. And I am very thankful for the Supreme Court of the United States. Reasons to be happy, reasons to live. The Supreme Court, the conservative Supreme Court, which is safe for at least some time. They've made many decisions which are going to help to pave the way for future freedoms. And I just want you to reflect and be thankful for Clarence Thomas and Neil Gorsuch, and those who stand for liberty on the Supreme Court a majority of the time, even if they aren't perfect, and some of them are quite flawed. What are you thankful for? C.O. Day says he's thankful for this liberty movement as well. Yes, sir, I'm thankful. Tell you what I'm thankful for internationally. I'm thankful for Javier frickin' Milei. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that Donald Trump's favorite international leader is an anarcho-capitalist libertarian? Javier Milei. I'm Viva la Libertad, carajo. Afuera. Right? Without Javier Milei transformed the Wake Up America show and the For Liberty shop, because you want to talk about being able to balance the budgets over here financially. Javier Milei, apparently big friend of AP for Liberty, because I'll tell you this, his retweets of me, his posting of the sneakers that I made, the afueras that we have over at forlibertyshop.com, turning them into international news, a national news sensation. Right when I needed him the most, he was there for me. I leaped in the net, appeared. Javier Milei, apparently a big fan of mine as well, featured the sneakers that I designed on my shop at the party that he went to at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump last week. I'm thankful for Javier Milei, and I'm thankful for Cliff Maloney. And I'm thankful for Jack Posobiec. So everybody gets their media in a different way. Some people read columns, some people watch live streams. But if you don't know, I've been writing 2 columns a week, one at Cliff Maloney's AMP America and 2 at Jack Posobiec's Human Events magazine, which is an old Ronald Reagan magazine, the conservative magazine in the 1980s that Jack Posobiec took over, and they hired me to write a weekly op-ed. And if you love reading op-eds, or you want to read my columns, definitely check those out at AMP America and at Human Events. So I'm thankful for Jack Posobiec, and I'm thankful for Cliff Maloney to give me the opportunity to reach a broader audience so that I can spread the ideas of liberty. Ah, yes. I see someone went to forlibertyshop.com this morning and decided to help unlock the bonus content. It is unlocked. Thank you, Kermode. Oh, he bought some more Founding Flavors coffee. He got the Roasted Chestnut Delight and the Martha's Mint. I'm very excited for you, Kermode, and I hope that you enjoy it. Oh, and another order. Somebody went to forlibertyshop.com. They went to Jared's. Oh, Grizz Cheese. There you go, Grizz. I hope you enjoy those holiday coffees, guys. I'm very grateful for Javier Milei, and I'm grateful for Kermode Bear and Grizz Cheese. Don't forget, guys, we do have some specials going on for Black Friday. If you're not on our text message list, how do you get on our text message list? Then you need to go to forlibertyshop.com, and there's a little wheel that will pop up, spin to win. That's how you get on the text message list. So if you see the spin to win, or if you don't see it, it should be in the bottom left-hand corner, right? It'll say spin to win, and you can click it to pop it up, and then just put your phone number in there so that you can get on our text message list, because we've got a lot of really good bundles and Black Friday deals. So make sure you're on our text message list, guys. Go to forlibertyshop.com and opt into the text messages on the spin to win. Go do it right now, guys. It doesn't cost anything. And then you're going to see all the awesome bundles that Stephanie has lovingly crafted for you all. Go to forlibertyshop.com, sign up for the text message list this morning, guys. I'll be very grateful, okay? Then you opt in. Once you opt into that, you're going to get not only like the coupons and the Black Friday deals, but you're also aware of certain things before anybody else does, right? So just make sure you're on that list, okay? You also get package tracking. So when you buy packages at forlibertyshop.com, like you get tracking notices for them and things like that. So there you go. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. I want to talk before we go, and then I'm going to get to the million billion clips and then the news, the latest, greatest, the million billion clips. It's so important to practice gratitude. It's such a simple concept, but it can affect you and change you in many ways. When you practice gratitude for the things in your life that you do have, instead of focusing on the things that you don't have, it helps to paint a clearer picture of how to grow the bounty for next year. And this is going to come in handy when I play the bonus content for you all about the first Thanksgiving bounty. We'll play that for you here in just a few minutes. But practicing gratitude can give you a sense of the bigger picture. It helps you to remember and reminds you of the things that really matter in your life. I've been spending a lot of time in the mornings as I'm preparing for work, listening to motivational speakers like Jim Rohn and Robert Greene and many others. I highly recommend them if you have time to listen to motivational speeches. They help me to coalesce my ideas and to make better decisions during the day. And one of the motivational speeches was about practicing gratitude, being grateful for what it is that you have. Now, many of us don't have much. And many of us, sometimes we open our purse or we look at our finances, or we look at maybe even a family that has started to grow small and we feel a certain loneliness. I certainly felt that much when as a young boy, I had a very large family, a large extended family. And of course, grandmothers, grandfathers, they pass away. And over time, family drifts apart. And if you don't have your own children, then your family gets smaller and smaller. And a sense of loneliness and perhaps even dread will start to kick in for those who would like to have a family, for those who would like to have loved ones around them. You practice gratitude for the community that you do have, if you do have them, considering that there are some people out there who will be alone on Thanksgiving. There are some people who will remember and look back fondly on the past and the days that they had family and that they had friends around them. And for whatever reason, through bad luck or perhaps through their own poor decisions, have found themselves in a situation this Thanksgiving where they are alone and they don't have the blessings that you have to be grateful for. Consider that, and maybe even consider opening up your home for someone who might be in that situation. That's what I think Thanksgivings are really all about. Practicing gratitude and being selfless and thankful for what you have and sharing the bounty and the blessings of capitalism that has allowed us to have the extra portions to share with other people and be thankful and practice gratitude for what you have. I am so thankful for the positive, optimistic, friendly community of people that have rallied around the Wake Up America show and now the new For Liberty Network. I see you when you are here in the chat. I see you and I know your names, and I see you too when you're watching Culturama with Daniela to help support the network. I see you when you're watching Liberty Tonight. I'll see you when you're sleeping. I know when you're awake. All right, that's a little bit creepy, AP. But I see your names. I see that you're out there. I see you throwing support. I see you throwing $5 bills into the till. I see you making purchases at forlibertyshop.com. I see you over on X posting friendly, supportive things. I see you, Latrell, LW78, who has been keenly aware and following all of the intimate details of what's been going on in the Liberty movement for the last decade or more. And I see many of you who have been around since the early days. Some of you have followed me since my Fox News days. Some of you have even followed me since before those days. I see this healthy, positive, optimistic community. Sometimes some people come And some people go, and sometimes they return, and sometimes when they're gone, they don't return. But I'm grateful for those who have stayed, for those who have stuck it out, for those who have helped to build what I've been building over here, who have cherished Freedom Family Fridays and me sharing my family and my love and my heart with you, because it's a dangerous thing to do, to share your true person and your family and to open up your heart of hearts to the public in such a way as I do. It means that sometimes I get my heart broken. It means that sometimes people use the knowledge that they have of me and of my life against me, to do damage to me, to harm me. And that is what I signed up for as part of this. And it does require one to have thick skin and to be able to, suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortunes. And I accept that responsibility. And I understand that is part of being the man in the arena. But I am the man in the arena, and I will continue to fight for these principles that have caused you to rally to me and this banner of House Peterson. And I'm grateful for you, and I want you to know that you will always be welcome at House Peterson. Thank you. I'm grateful for you. I've got a million billion clips this morning to share with you. Some fun, some funny, some sad, but we'll do that when we get back. We've got the bonus content for you that you've unlocked. I hope you enjoy it. The true spirit of Thanksgiving on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Capitalism. How not just the harvest, but the enduring legacy of economic freedom. Remember, Thanksgiving is a testament to resilience, innovation, and the enduring power of free enterprise.
Let's talk about the pick of Tulsi Gabbard for DNI. Here is what the former UN ambassador Nikki Haley had to say about Tulsi Gabbard. Take a look.
This is not a place for a Russian, Iranian, Syrian, Chinese sympathizer. DNI has to analyze real threats. Are we comfortable with someone like that at the top of our national intelligence agencies?
So, Senator, what say you? Are you comfortable? Will you vote for Tulsi Gabbard?
I think it's really interesting that anybody that has a different political view now is being cast as a Russian asset. It's totally ridiculous. Tulsi Gabbard has served in our military. She served as a congresswoman from Hawaii, as a Democrat, I might add, part of this unique coalition that President Trump has put together and won and got that mandate. But I think it's insulting. It's a slur, quite frankly. There's no evidence that she's a asset of another country. She served this country honorably. And by the way, she cares deeply about our Constitution and civil liberties and making sure people aren't being targeted by these intelligence agencies. So again, I think this is a reformer who can come in, who maybe is not part of the same Washington cocktail party circuit that people in the intel community are used to, but maybe that's exactly what we need right now. President Trump listened to the American people when they screamed about these issues. They want to be heard. They feel like Washington's broken, and I think bringing somebody in like Tulsi Gabbard is a welcome news.
So you're a yes on Tulsi Gabbard, Senator, just to be clear?
I'm a yes on Pam Bondi. I'm a yes on Pete Hegseth. I'm a yes on Tulsi Gabbard. Absolutely.
Yeah, boy. It's my Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt right there. I'm so proud of him. He's really pretty good. He doesn't get the kind of credit, I think, sometimes in the media. He's not as flashy as some. But that is Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt. We claim him. We stand Eric Schmidt in the House of AP. That's right. For liberty. I'm so glad we got Eric Schmidt in there talking about Tulsi Gabbard. I'm thankful that Tulsi Gabbard is going to be the director of national intelligence in this country. Is she the libertarian in the cabinet? No, libertarian said no. She's not a real libertarian. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not a real libertarian. Oh, they're fighting last night about who's a real libertarian, who compromised their principles. God bless America. I'm proud to be a libertarian Republican, man. Join the GOP with me and Tulsi. Why does everything you say have to rhyme, Austin? It's the Wake Up America show. Have you clicked that like button yet? Click it. You have to click it before you stick it You'll have to get it hot and wet before you. Oh my God! From now on,
it's going to be America first. Okay, America first.
Donald Trump will be the president of the United States. January 6th is the swearing in or the confirmation. January 20th is the day he takes office. I'm very excited about this. Now, let's all gather around and talk about something that we should all agree on, and that is that it's time to do something about the national debt. The national debt is more than $6 trillion. It's time to talk about what that means. The gross federal debt of the United States has surpassed $36 trillion. Although the debt affects each of us, it's difficult to put large numbers into perspective and understand its implications. I've got an infographic for you here to offer different ways of looking at the debt and its relationship to the economy, the budget, and to American families like yours and mine. The $36 trillion gross federal debt includes debt held by the public as well as debt held by the federal trust funds and other government accounts. In very basic terms, this can be thought of as debt that the government owes to others plus debt that it owes to itself. America's high and rising debt matters because it threatens our economic future. The COVID-19 pandemic rapidly accelerated our fiscal challenges, but we were already on an unsustainable path with structural drivers that existed long before the pandemic. Structural drivers like, the things that people don't want to take on. Putting our nation on a better fiscal path will ensure a stronger and more resilient economy for the future. So, the national debt has now surpassed $36 trillion. That's $29 trillion in debt held by the public and $7 trillion in intra-governmental debt. $36 trillion is roughly the values of the entire economies of China, Germany, Japan, India, the United Kingdom combined. That amounts to $274,000 of debt per household, or $107,000 of debt per person. This is bad juju.
No, God! No, God!
Let's see if I can shrink it down so that you guys can see it. Look at me doing that on the fly. Yeah, I'm so damn good. Give it up, AP. I want to be a producer. If every U.S. household contributed $1,000 a month towards paying down the national debt, it would take about 23 years. So all of us would have to give $1,000 a month for 23 years to pay off the national debt. Yikes. Not good. Maria Edenbow is asking, speaking of debt, trying to find the Liberty store. What's the address? Well, it's forlibertyshop.com. Maria, that's the number 4libertyshop.com, or the Rumblebot is helping you, yes. Rising debt can harm our economy and threaten opportunities for every American. $36 trillion is enough to cover a public 4-year degree for every graduating U.S. high school student for 106 years. Jesus. What's so funny, Kamala? You losing? Within 10 years, the federal government will spend more on interest payments than it traditionally has on research, development, infrastructure, and education combined, which means we're not investing enough in our future. But we are spending nearly $3 billion per day on interest payments on the debts. The good news is that there is still time to adjust course, and the earlier we get started, the easier it will be to fix. We're going to talk to John Miltimore about that. Don't go away. Let me go get John Miltimore. I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apeforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit aporlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Look, Musk may have a big role here. It's not entirely clear what Trump is going to do with this Department of Government Efficiency. If we can save a couple $100 billion, I'd be delighted. We can spend it on the defense budget, which desperately needs an increase.
What? Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. The Department of Government Efficiency. We should take the billions that they save and we should spend it, says John Miltimore. No, thank you. No, thank you. With $36 trillion in debt, it's time to talk about a change. You know what I'm thankful for this year? I'm thankful for John Miltimore joining us live here from the American Institute of Economic Research. John, thanks for all the contributions you've made to the Wake Up America show in the last 2 years.
Hey, I appreciate it. I love coming on here every week, AP.
Hey, we appreciate you too, John Miltimore. So should we do what John Bolton says? Should we take some of the, tens, if we're lucky, hundreds of billions of dollars maybe that the Department of Government Efficiency might identify in necessary cuts? Should we take that money and then plow that back into defense spending? What do you think, John?
I can't think of a worse idea of how to spend that money. No, I mean, here's the thing. First, I'm skeptical we'll actually see meaningful cuts. Like, I'm not saying it can't happen. I don't think it's going to be as easy as a lot of people seem to think. But no, we don't need to pour that money back into the Pentagon. We have, as you point out, a $36 trillion debt. If you look at this is no secret, but we're paying, $1 trillion just to service that debt now annually. This is serious. I think we got to start, in addition to cuts, I think we got to get creative and start finding other ways to pay down that debt. Like there's some things I've seen, whether it's, moving gold reserves. Well, it's, my personal favorite, selling federal lands. If you look, about a third of the land in America is owned by the federal government. Over a period of 10, 15, 20 years, I would start that enormous value there. Put it to places that can actually, manage the land properly, that can create value. There are avenues to kind of, get out of this hole. But I think we need constitutional spending constraints is part of that equation. And these are things I don't see a lot of these things being discussed though, right? And this is why hopefully Vivek and Elon and Doge, like, they get serious about this. We'll see if that happens.
Well, I hope it does happen. I'm trying to stay white-pilled, and I'm trying to show what I'm grateful for. But this morning, I gave like the first 45 minutes of this long rant about all of the things that I'm thankful for this year. And I'm thankful that Donald Trump won the election. How about you, John?
Hey, like, I'm glad I wanted him to win, and I voted for Donald Trump. I think that, there's reasons to think that we're at the precipice of something potentially historic. I'm 45 years old. I've never seen in my adult lifetime the opportunity to actually solve some of these problems. And I talk about mostly fiscal problems and the administrative state problems. There's a lot of people that are focusing on, taking down some of these, departments that there's a great one going around on the U.S. Department of Education right now. Like, it's sort of a viral post I have on Substack. If you look, like, a lot of the people that are really opposed to this, they're saying how desperately we need the Department of Education, and they're citing examples of how terrible education is in America today, and how only 10% of sixth graders, and they're citing all this stuff. It was never like that. Like, if you look, the Department of Education made education in this country worse, and spending has about tripled in that time, but education's worse. I think if we can't take out departments like public education now, with Department of Commerce, some of these superfluous departments, it's never going to happen. So yeah, like, I'm white pilled in that sense. I think there's an actual chance that we can do this. I will say, like, when Linda McMahon was appointed to that post, I was a little surprised. She doesn't strike me as the person. There were other people there, I think, that would have been pushing to make that happen. I'm not sure, I was scratching my head at that pick. And there's others. The Surgeon General pick. You probably saw this one, AP. What's her name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. But she was one of the COVID zealots. And I'm not talking about in March 2020. Like, you even have, like, guys like Marty McCary, who I really like, and he's at the FDA. He's been appointed there. McCary in March 2020 you could find posts of him, kind of preaching some of the COVID madness and these really aggressive policies that were going to force people into masking and lockdown support. But the Surgeon General pick, 2 years into the pandemic, she was still spouting all that. So picks like that are kind of a slap in the face to me. Like, and I think those are political appointments. I think those are people that are connected. So things like that, I'm not encouraged when I see picks like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. The woman's name is Dr. Jeanette Neshawat, and a lot of people were disappointed with that choice because COVID-19 still reigns supreme in a lot of our mindsets on the right. And I think that the COVID tyranny played a big role in why people pushed back against the Biden Kamala Harris regime and chose to send Donald Trump to Washington, D.C. There's an interesting juxtaposition, however, between Donald Trump and his base, where I think that a lot of people are still upset about the fact that Donald Trump is so proud of Operation Warp Speed and of the speed of the development of the vaccine. And there's a lot of confusion in the the difference between someone who is, what you might truly considered to be an anti-vaxxer, where they're against, all vaccines whatsoever, perhaps, people who are in between or who are on the fence, maybe, or people who are pro-vaccine but anti-COVID vaccine. There's a whole spectrum of views when it comes to that. But when it came to COVID tyranny, we are all united in opposition to COVID tyranny. And no doubt she was not one of our friends of liberty when it came to the COVID-19 issue. Yes, very disappointing. But here's the thing. In terms of what I have to be grateful for with the incoming Trump administration, I managed my expectations the whole time, and I campaigned for the guy, John. I was a delegate, a Republican delegate this year, the state level, to on the Donald Trump slate. and I chose not to try and go to national, but I was a state delegate supporting his campaign on the off chance and noting that, as a toss of the dice, that Donald Trump, being the enemy of my enemies, and also that the people like he was cozying up to people like Vivek Ramaswamy and people like Javier Milei and others, that those capitalist instincts that he has, again, not the philosophical capitalism of yours and mine, but that those instincts might guide him to make better decisions than Kamala Harris obviously would have made worse decisions on when it came to things like we're in a cultural battle as well against diversity, equity, and inclusion. I trust that Donald Trump will make the right decisions in those things. It was a gamble that I would not get everything that I wanted. As a matter of fact, John, I didn't expect to get most of the things that I wanted when it came to the Trump administration. I expected that I would get a very small few things that would move the country in the direction that I wanted, and that I would still have to fight like hell against the Nikki Haley's, John Bolton's, Dr. Neshwat's, whatever. And to her credit, she does have people coming out and saying that she has done a 180 on those things. And I know a lot of people who did do 180s on COVID when they realized it was wrong. I'm glad that they were wrong. They should admit that they were. So I don't want to take any black pills this morning, John, because listen, I've got them all there. I've taken what I do is, as a libertarian, is I go ahead and I take all my black pills first. I'm the type of person, whenever my mom used to come to me and say, Austin, I got good news and bad news. Which one do you want first? I always said, give me the bad news first. You know why? Because then you get it out of the way. Just take your medicine, right? Just accept the shit is good. You're going to have to eat a shit sandwich. I accepted that. But some people don't seem to be willing to kind of do that. And that's just a question of personal taste and how you deal with these things. But when it comes to tackling government debt, the Department of Government Efficiency, that's it right there. I mean, if they cut anything, noting that like typically government spending would increase, if they cut anything at all, John, I think it's a small victory, but a victory nonetheless.
No, I do too. And I'll be even like, if we can just sustain spending, right? Like saying like, we're not going over what we spent last year. Would I like to see massive cuts? Yeah. But if I could just see 4 years where spending doesn't go up, because you know how hard that would be, because so much of the spending is just baked in. It's baked into increase in Social Security. It's baked into increase in Medicare. It's baked into annual increases in discretionary spending for this and that. If we can just hold the line, I think that's a massive win. And you're right. Like I don't consider myself a black pill guy. I try to be realistic. But I think you're right. Like it's the Thanksgiving season. If we can't be grateful for I got a piece coming out in the Examiner, kind of just being grateful for the miracles around us. We don't see how prosperous we are as a country. We don't see how good we got it. I'd love to take anyone, go back 100 years to 1915 when the average life expectancy was 55 years old, and your diet was half lard because that was the only fat that you could get in your diet, where people were dying of tuberculosis and not heart disease. Things, were it was a different world 100 years ago, but we don't see how good we have it. And if you can't recognize the good things in your life, I think you're going to be an unhappy person, and you're going to be, as a country, it's going to be an ugly country if you can't appreciate all the good things around us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I'm speaking to John Miltimore. He's with the American Institute of Economic Research. We call it Mondays with Miltimore. John's been joining us every Monday pretty much since we started the Wake Up America show, and we're grateful for him. If you're enjoying the show this morning, click like. And if today is your first time watching the Wake Up America show, I'd love to have you be a regular guest Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. Click the follow button underneath the video. The follow button over on Rumble is your friend. Click it so that you'll get a notification on the app, and you can come back and join us again Mondays through Fridays. Mr. Newsy says, he fixed his mic. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Hey, my settings reset. I just didn't catch it before the show.
We're glad to have you here, John, and we're glad that we can hear you. So talk to us about the Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of the tweets that Elon, or I guess X posts that he's been making. I still call them tweets. But they're identifying wasteful government spending. They're calling it out. The Doge X account has been posting, and Rand Paul has been out there. Ron Paul has been out there posting it, and they're like gathering all this information. They're putting together a team of some of the best and brightest minds of small government constitutionalists, libertarians, and conservatives who are going to be working full time to come up with recommendations. And the Congress actually created a Doge caucus to be able to collaborate with this inside-outside institution to offer these cuts to Congress. Now, granted, they got 2 years because right now we control the House and the Senate, and very very limited control, but at least control. So, I mean, talk to us a little bit about like Doge. I mean, any optimism there? Are you taking a white pill on that? I mean, do you think that that's
I'm excited about
it?
I was happy to see Joni Ernst is going to be the chair in the Senate. She strikes me as she's a good egg. She's going to be going after the right things. I love that
Yes.
you have the congressional caucuses that are communicating with Doge on this. The exciting part for me here, it's such a target-rich environment. There's so much you can go after. A person like this isn't a huge spending item. It's probably about $1 million, but it was one of those that caught my attention. I'm going to write on this a little bit. It's the stuff that the spending is actually harmful, right? And if you look, NewsGuard was getting money from the Pentagon. Are you familiar with NewsGuard?
Yeah,
they're the operation that goes around and wants to punish you.
Yeah. I remember that they were sending me questionnaires about my libertarianrepublic.com news website and like probing my editorial guidelines in ways that felt very intrusive and sort of like, and then they were they kind of like threaten you if you weren't sort of going along with the way that they wanted you to handle your editorial ethics and things. And I was kind of like, what is this group, NewsGuard? At first, I was kind of like, oh, this sounds like a good idea, and I collaborated. But then once I found out about their associations and realized what was going on, I shut off all communications immediately. And they wanted to have the power to deprioritize you in searches and do all kinds of evil shit.
No, that's 100%. This is, John Turley, the law professor at George Washington. I think he said it best. Like, this is the government's outsourcing. They can't censor you themselves, so they're giving money to NewsGuard, and NewsGuard then can go downrank you. They can bury you. They can go to advertisers, give you a bad rating, say you shouldn't. Like, it's very, very pernicious stuff, and we're funding it. Taxpayers are funding it. And it's the same like with NPR, right? Like, NPR is still getting gobs of government money. I like NPR, like they do some good stories, right? They don't need taxpayer funding. And going after things like these are no-brainers. If we can't defund NPR, we can't take away like grants for NewsGuard. We're goners. Like these are the things we have to get. And Doge should be looking at things like that first above anything else.
This is Catherine Marr, the head of NPR. Take a listen.
The number one challenge here that we see and is, of course, the First Amendment in the United States is a fairly robust protection of rights. And that is a protection of rights both for platforms, which I actually think is very important, that platforms have those rights to be able to regulate what kind of content they want on their sites. But it also means that it is a little bit tricky to really address some of the real challenges of where does bad information come from and sort of the influence peddler.
No, she sees as the First Amendment is a real obstacle for people like her at NPR. It gets in her way.
No, this is just it. And they're receiving money. They're collaborating with the people that are trying to, shut down, people who are engaging in free speech on platforms they don't like. They should not be getting a cent of taxpayer money, but it's this huge apparatus, and all these groups are receiving money. Like, really what we've seen is government has weaponized parts of media. And so these why do you think, news organizations are so hostile to platforms like X? Because they're being challenged by them, but these are robust free speech platforms that are really competitors to them, because they're not doing that anymore. They're able to control media. Government is able to really influence these few networks in ways that they can't with this much larger ecosystem of of media out there, which is why it's a threat to government. And they're able to do that. That's fine. You can't stop using taxpayer dollars to do it.
Doesn't it feel strange, John, to see the American media so captured by the government and becoming arms of the regime, where they were oppositional for so long and so many years? They have now been entirely captured by the government. And you see news agencies advocating against free speech. It's kind of like bizarro world, isn't it?
It really is. But you look, it was the same thing that was going on at Twitter before Elon bought it. Like you had FBI people, current FBI officials in there. Then you had former FBI people, like dozens of them. The numbers were stunning. They're coordinating with actual government officials. So you really had the FBI that was controlling Twitter in ways that were really, really creepy. Same thing that the CIA was doing similar stuff with Facebook. Like to me, this was, I couldn't believe it. And then there was people that didn't even see it as a problem. No, government should not be involved in media like this. These are private companies, and they found a way to, if you turn on CNN on any given night, what do you see? Former FBI deputy director, all these people. This is how the government is staking out its turf, influencing media. And it's why that they can't, they're so terrified of X, kind of blew all that up. It exposed it for one. The Twitter files exposed what was happening. And now we see these kind of alternative media platforms, not just X, but Substack, all these podcasts. They can't control them in the same way. And it's a real threat to government. And we're going to see this play out over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, probably. The first thing we have to do is stop funding it. Stop funding like the people that are trying to shut us up, that are trying to use government to censor people indirectly. And there's a lot of low-hanging fruit there. Doge needs to find it and cut it out.
I'm speaking to John Miltimore. He is our Monday regular, works for the American Institute of Economic Research. We're talking to him a little bit about national debt, areas to cut, freedom of speech, etc., etc. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't joined us before. John joins us every Monday. We call it Mondays with Miltimore, and it's always a good time. John, reasons to live, right? Reasons not to self-delete. Javier Milei of Argentina. I talked about a bright spot this entire year. I mean, think about it. Sometimes it's incredible to think that he's only been president for 1 year, because he's already done so much, told off the World Economic Forum to their face, shut down dozens of government agencies in Argentina, brought inflation to historic lows, turned around their economy, created a relationship between himself and Donald Trump, became famous in large part thanks to the line of sneakers available at forlibertyshop.com. I take all the credit. No, that has certainly been a big bright spot. It's certainly been something I've been grateful for in the last year. How about you?
No, it's so exciting to see. It's really a roadmap for the United States, and people are like, oh, we're not Argentina. My counterpoint is wait 10 years. Wait, we will be Argentina if we continue down this path. One of the interesting, we were just talking about media capture. If you want a great example of it, look to Argentina. If you look at what Reuters reports or the Associated Press, they're going to report none of the good things are going to be reported out of Argentina. They will find any bad report they can and highlight it. They're like, it's so obvious once you see it. They're going to say, oh, poverty in Argentina is now at 58%. They won't tell you that when Milei came in, poverty was 55%. Like all of these things, they're going to find negative news and highlight it. But Milei is doing, he's my wildest expectations are being surpassed. And I hope he can keep it up. I talked to free market economists. Some, are surprised because they didn't think like we'd have as much progress in year one as we're seeing. There's still, potential of a collapse in GDP. All the earmarks right now are good because he's doing it like even if you have the right prescription, there can be real severe consequences when you have massive cutbacks. We're not seeing that right now in Argentina. Right now, the economy is looking in great shape. Most importantly, inflation just keeps falling. So yeah, like I'm thankful for Javier Milei. I'm more excited about what's going on in Argentina than anywhere in the world.
I was shocked yesterday. I was watching a documentary. It was some German documentary about Javier Milei. And I was shocked that they actually had people on who were supportive of Milei. But the rest of the documentary, of course, was like your standard traditional hit piece, misrepresentation of the actual economic situation, pleas to emotion, and laying on blaming of Javier Milei's policies for why Argentina is in such a mess because of Javier Milei, who's been president for only 1 year. But one of the things I found interesting in that documentary, John, and this just goes to show, I think, how twisted the morality of the left is that it spent a special amount of time talking about how the churches in Argentina, specifically, they went to one in Buenos Aires, where the churches in Argentina are having to step up more and are doing more charity for the poor in their country. And they were interviewing the priests and talking to the homeless people, and they're like, the government is no longer giving you this money. Now all of this is going to the church. All of the charities having to be done by the church. Church like, oh yeah, we've had to work even more. And I don't mean to be like mean or anything like that, but like, quite frankly, there was like a little kid, and bless him, I'm sure that he is, very poor and very destitute. But the kid, he was like 10 years old, and he weighed about as much as I do, right? And he was kind of like walking into the church, like looking for what appeared to be maybe his sixth or seventh meal, perhaps. I mean, we're not talking about like, Haiti here. We're talking about Argentina. It's a little different. Poverty in nations like Argentina and the United States doesn't look like poverty in places like Haiti or other places. Talk about being grateful. But they were making it appear as if it was a bad thing that now, instead of going to the government office to get the welfare that they needed or the food that they needed, they were going to the churches in their communities, and the priests were having to step up. One, that's why we give tax exempt status to churches, by the way. Right? That's the whole point. The reason that we grant this incredible bounty of wealth to religions in the United States is not because we all agree on the same thing when it comes to religion, but that we all generally agree that if their primary mission is to help the poor and the downtrodden, then a tax break would certainly help them to do so. So that's kind of the point of that. And then two, that is kind of the point of the church. That is the point of charity, is for it to be voluntary, for it to be something that comes from our hearts. They saw that as something terrible, that they had to stop going to the government office and they had to start going into their communities and meeting with their priests and ask people for help directly. I see that as a moral virtue. They see it as a moral failing. Isn't that fascinating?
Well, it's very much the same thing here. Like, if you look, we declared war on poverty in 1965. The poverty rate in America has not changed. And this is very frustrating, I think, for libertarians, for many conservatives. Like, we look at it, we don't want people on government dole. We want people that are being like, they're self-efficient, right? Like they go to work, they produce. For us, there's nothing worse than people that are just receiving checks and staying at home. I think there's something very destructive about that for people. Like, we're meant to work. We're meant to try to go forward. Getting people off food stamps should be our goal, right? Like, that's not healthy for people. And I think if you look at so many of the social problems in our own country, you have idle hands. You have people that it's very naturally for humans, going to work every day can be hard. It's a lot easier, to collect a check. And then you have things like drug abuse, alcoholism, all these things. I think that's why we've seen such an explosion in those things, is because we've kind of incentivized it with our welfare state. So yeah, getting people off welfare is getting people to go to work. But I think that is a fundamental difference. If you look, Marxists, they don't look at work as a very good thing, right? Like, I think I'm a Christian, and if you look, there's a strong thing that says, Protestant work ethic. It's a phrase you heard all those years. Work is good. Work improves us, right? We don't live to work, but work is something that we value. Marxists always sneer at work. They don't like it. So I think there is something in that mindset. They want people, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, like, they look at it as a good thing that the government is taking care of people. It doesn't help individuals. It doesn't help society.
Amy J. Ease over on the chat says, A Christmas Carol, best example of the good private citizens can do. Yes, we will be visited by the ghosts of 3 libertarians. The libertarians of the past, the libertarians of the present, and the libertarians of the future. John Miltimore is our ghost of libertarian present. Angela McArdle is the ghost of libertarian future. She's coming up next. John, is there anything else you want to share with us before we let you go, my friend?
No, to all the listeners, have a great Thanksgiving. Welcome. I'll leave you this message. Welcome the Trump supporters to your table. Welcome the Kamala Harris supporters to your table. The Chase Olivers, all of them. I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter not doing that, and I think it's horrifying. Like, if we can't break bread with our family because of politics, that's a bad thing. So
amen.
That's all.
Amen. That's a good message, John. It's very Christian of you, sir. It's very Christian. Have a tot of gin. John, happy Thanksgiving to you. We'll see you next week.
Happy one to you as well, AP. Take care, man.
Thank you very much. That's John Miltimore. Coming up next, Angela McArdle. Did we sacrifice our principles when we voted for Donald Trump? Well, some of us did. Not me. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. We'll talk about that with the the queen of all libertarians, Angela McArdle, on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Don't go away.
Capitalism. How Thanksgiving celebrate not just the harvest, but the enduring legacy of economic freedom. Remember, Thanksgiving is a testament to resilience, innovation, and the enduring power of free enterprise. Embrace the spirit of entrepreneurship and personal responsibility in your life. Together, we can continue to build a prosperous future rooted in the principles of freedom and opportunity.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
That's nice. That's nice. Only if you want to win. Only if you want to win. Maybe you don't want to win. Maybe you don't want to win. Thank you, D-Roy. Thank you. No, only do that if you want to win. If you want to lose, don't do that. Keep getting your 3% every 4 years. The reasons for doing so.
That's Donald Trump, who was speaking to the Libertarian National Convention last year, my former party, asking for their support, their endorsement. And many libertarians, small L libertarians like myself, big L libertarians like Dave Smith and others, came out in support of Donald Trump for President of the United States. Now, my next guest, she is the queen of the Libertarian Party, the kingmaker, she calls herself over on her X bio. Her name is Angela McArdle. She's the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. And, well, her candidate, Chase Oliver, her official candidate, didn't do quite so well this last year. So many libertarians did get on board the Donald Trump train. And the conversation now is, will Donald Trump put a libertarian in his cabinet? Well, that question has been answered, and it seems to be no, depending on how you define that. What is a real libertarian? Well, my next guest, I think we can safely say, is a real libertarian. Her name is Angela McArdle. She's joining us live right there. Good morning, Angela McArdle. Nice to see you, Angela.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
A lot to discuss, Angela, and we are going to talk about the intricacies of the conversation that you were having last night in regards to a sacrifice of principles and supporting Donald Trump. And we'll get to those things here in just a few minutes. But I mean, just bigger picture here, you are a member of the third largest political party in the United States. But the Libertarian Party did have maybe its worst showing ever for its own candidate. But you did a lot to sort of change the conversation in regards to how libertarians look at Donald Trump. So how do you feel about Donald Trump winning the election and becoming the next president of the United States?
I mean, I'm extremely relieved, right? We were not going to have a Chase Oliver presidency. Very tragic, very sad. Um, I think we talked about this before about how terrible Kamala Harris is. And I don't think that it's so exhausting to hear people say it's the most important election of our lifetime every 4 years. Uh, it sounds like a zombie horde, repeating the same thing over and over again. But I think with a Kamala Harris presidency, it was going to be a little bit different than Biden. She and Tim Walz were very interested in suppressing free speech, which is very scary. She had talked about basically instituting communism and price fixes on groceries. We were staring down something that was very grim. And the counterpoint to that is Donald Trump, who is basically running on this counter elite theory, where you've got Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy coming in and saying, let's shave $2 trillion off the federal budget. We're financial elites. Elon Musk is the technocratic, benevolent overlord and wanting to come in and give us free market principles. And no, it wasn't going to be like a perfect libertarian paradise, but it was a stark difference compared to, price fixing USA, USSR stuff. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic. It's not 100% libertarian. That was never the promise. But boy, howdy, have we moved in that direction.
That's a very mature attitude, Angela, and I've always appreciated the approach that you take to things. I think it is very different from many people. We have factions within libertarianism. I have given speeches about the different factions, just identifying them to categorize and understand, to help people understand a little bit better about the different factions of libertarianism. And after 20 years of libertarian activism, I think I can pretty safely say decisively, there really is no such thing as a real libertarian, quote unquote, despite the fact that we all every faction sort of holds itself to be the one true faith, if you will. Libertarianism, unlike gender, is something of a spectrum. It's something of a spectrum. And so I thought it was refreshing to see that you are a fiduciary duty to the Libertarian Party. You could not do what Dave Smith did, which was to endorse Donald Trump for president of the United States. And you had this big conversation in Spaces last night. Forgive me, I had to get the play-by-play afterwards, so maybe you can kind of fill me in on this one. I think the question was, did we, people like himself, people like him, people like me, did we sacrifice our principles in order to vote for Donald Trump? And we're going to have a conversation about the cabinet picks and the promises made at the convention. We'll talk about Ross Ulbricht and all that stuff later. But bigger picture, do you think that Dave Smith or me or others who supported Donald Trump who were libertarians, do you think we compromised our principles to vote for Donald Trump?
No. And I'm kind of tired of being asked this question, not by you, but by what I believe are people who are incredibly immature or bad actors. What does it mean to sacrifice your principles? No one can answer that to me. What does it mean to sacrifice your principles? Voting, from my perspective, is a defensive maneuver. Agorists will say, anytime you participate in the system, you're sacrificing your principles. Oh, okay. Did Larkin Rose sacrifice his principles when he walked through the front doors of a prison for his tax evasion charges, and then he took up taxpayer dollars, eating that prison food? Oh, what a statist. It's such a stupid, arbitrary, meaningless question. Did you sacrifice your principles? If you're trying to get things done and trying to advance the ball, you're going to have to engage in the system. And that's what you're doing when you vote for someone like Donald Trump. Sometimes some of us are not. It wasn't about voting for Donald Trump. It was about voting for Doge. It's about voting to get a libertarian in the cabinet. It's about voting to free Ross Ulbricht. It's about voting to see the Federal Register shrink. Donald Trump actually did that in his first term. It was just a little bit, but he did shrink it. Those are the things that we're voting for. It's not like you're voting for bad foreign policy. I'm not. I don't want to see that. But I want to take the gains that I can get.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up foreign policy because, on the question of principle, when it came to Donald Trump, the view of many right-wing libertarians, Mises-type libertarians, and specifically, Dave Smith and many others in the liberty movement, was that Donald Trump was a blood-soaked monster who deserved to be in prison for the rest of his life. Do you think that he changed his mind about that, or do you think he still believes that Donald Trump should be in prison for the rest of his life, but that for the next 4 years we need him as president of the United States, and then he should serve his prison term? Or maybe do you think he changed his mind? Because I know that for the very foreign policy centric right-wing libertarians, that the way that Donald Trump conducted his foreign policy was not perfectly libertarian, and I wonder if it was just, was it all bluster? Well, I mean, were you just kind of joking about those foreign policy principles? Because it was very strident, especially after October 7th, Angela. So I'm just curious if you think that, did your opinion on him change? Do you think he's still a blood-soaked monster in a sense when it comes to foreign policy? Or maybe are you kind of like taking a more Javier Milei page out of things and looking at things from a more realist perspective on those topics?
I think libertarians are starting to mature in how they view these things and understanding that there's nuance in these situations. And you can say on the one hand, what happened is terrible. I think what happened with Yemen is terrible. I think that Donald Trump was operating with low information in a lot of foreign policy areas. He was totally new. He does not have a foreign policy background, outside of business. And I wish he had made different decisions. I also understand that if I want to change anything like that, if I want to change his foreign policy, I've got to put myself in a position of influence. And that's what I do. And I think that a lot of libertarians are starting to understand this, that people are more likely to listen to you and take your advice and maybe constructive criticism if you're getting in close with them or the people around them and saying, don't do that, that's a bad idea, as opposed to just yelling on the internet, you're a blood-soaked monster, doesn't help. Now, I do think that Bolton and Pompeo are, I don't have very nice things to say about them.
Sure, no, and I don't either. I just think it's I think that what has happened is that as some people have something of a Trump derangement syndrome, I think that the modern American libertarian movement has something of an Israel derangement syndrome.
Yes.
And I've noticed this especially with the unpersoning of Walter Block. Did you pay attention to what happened there?
Terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Instead of unpersoning him the way that they did, in my opinion, they should have simply done something like write an article that said Walter Block is wrong about Israel. Because you can say that, and that's what I think. But I also recognize that he's a pillar of this movement. He's a very old man, and I'm not interested in casting him out on the ideological street because I disagree with him, maybe strongly.
You'd have to do that to Javier. You'd have to do the same thing for Javier Milei for the same reasons, right?
Totally agree. And, nobody wants to do that. I think that libertarians are so unfamiliar with winning and making advancements that we don't know how to operate in this way. So I'm trying to help us learn. I feel like I should do a YouTube series. Learn how to be a decent human being with me. Let's learn together as we move along the way.
We're all trying our best, Angela, but damn it, when we talk about libertarianism as a spectrum, some of us really are on the spectrum. Good morning.
Yes.
Welcome to the Wake Up America. We get very angry. The objectivists will frequently scream at me. If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, I'm speaking to Angela McArdle. She is the chair of the Libertarian National Committee. That's the head of the Libertarian Party. They very much were involved in the national conversation this year, not because of their presidential candidate, Chase Oliver, but because of the relationship that people like Angela McArdle and others in the party developed with our incoming president, Donald Trump. And I'm very excited to see what Donald Trump might be able to do with the Department of Government Efficiency. There are white pills to be had in the form of seeing what Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are doing. But many libertarians are not happy with the cabinet picks. I'm certainly not. And the big conversation now is, who is the libertarian in the cabinet? And I'm curious, there's big L libertarian, small L libertarian. I'm very familiar with the difference. Some people might not be. So talk to us about the cabinet. There are some picks in there, Surgeon General, very bad. Marco Rubio, bad. Chris Wright, not bad when it comes to the Department of Energy. Tulsi Gabbard, not bad. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., nobody that I would necessarily really call kind of a libertarian like you and I are, Angela, but some with some strong libertarian leanings. So What's your take on the libertarian in the cabinet situation? Give me your, big picture analysis of that.
Here's my new definition of libertarian. If you are 51% or more libertarian, you are officially in.
Slight majority is
Yeah,
all you need.
it's 51%, simple majority.
So Robert F.
Or
Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard make the cut. Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know about Tulsi. I love her, but I would say that Kennedy certainly does make the cut.
Okay.
He has spoken at our national convention. He's spoken at Freedom Fest. He's spoken at Pork Fest. I'm in a national joint fundraising committee with the man. I speak to him personally on a regular basis. He has made leaps and bounds to come more in a free market direction on all of his environmentalism stuff. He's talked about it a whole lot publicly. Is he 100%? No. But is he moving in the right direction? Yes. Is he a member of the party? Yes. He is a lifetime member of the National Libertarian Party. That's nothing to sneeze at. So he's our libertarian in the cabinet, and
So
I gotta say,
you think it's RFK?
It's RFK. It's RFK right now.
And not Tulsi Gabbard though? Why?
Well, according to the rabid ideologues and the membership, membership really matters, and he's a member.
Okay, good to know. But I mean, my challenge to that would just be that if anybody can just pay a certain amount of money and call themselves a libertarian, et cetera, then that kind of, makes the question of what it means to be like an actual philosophical libertarian.
Well, sure, that would be Vivek Ramaswamy, but
right.
But he doesn't count because he's a Republican. So I guess that means it's got to be Kennedy.
I guess it's got to be Kennedy. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, Angela McCardle. It's a tough job what you're doing right there, Angela. I do not envy you being the chair of the National Party. It is the herding cats party, and you have certainly got your work cut out for you. The Libertarian Party's candidate Chase Oliver struggled to gain any traction this year. I think because most libertarians, people like ourselves, and not you, of course, you had to support Chase, but many libertarians who are like myself, many have joined the Republican Party, and I openly call myself a libertarian Republican, and I do so even in my local county Republican meetings, and they don't seem to be bothered by it much anymore. I'll tell you, things seem to really have changed a lot.
Yes.
At least from my experience with the way Republicans think about libertarians. And I think that the Tea Party years and the Trump populism, the MAGA overlap with the liberty movement has had a very positive impact. We've seen many libertarian issues become mainstream MAGA issues, have we not?
I think that we have, absolutely. I mean, with the aggressive deregulation discussion that's happened recently, because of Javier Milei, some of the criticisms that I've heard on that is like, well, the Republicans always try to do that. They don't really. They try to strip away regulations in a pay-to-play way just to prop up one or two special interest groups. It's usually tied to lobbying. Javier Milei cut like half of his government. And that's what Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are talking about doing. Totally different game.
Exactly.
What else? Free speech, like in a very aggressive and intense way coming from Elon Musk. I think that's very important. Like he's genuinely concerned about it. Things like price fixing, pushing back against that. There's a lot of libertarian issues that people are excited about. They've been talking about cutting the federal income tax. They've been talking about pushing back against the Federal Reserve. This is our moment in history.
Yes. No, I completely agree with you, Angela, and I think you've really got a good attitude about these things. And I'm glad that you have risen to have a voice and a platform in this movement because I think that you contribute greatly. What has really saddened me, Angela, especially because I was very young and idealistic at one point and very much was about trying to help unite the clans, the factions of libertarianism, which I think might be a bit of a fool's errand at this point to a certain extent. But the Reason Magazine crowd, the sort of Beltway insider libertarian, it feels like they've really turned on us to a large extent.
Hate us.
I mean, it feels like they really hate us. I mean, searing white-hot hatred of the sort of right-wing libertarians who are having their moment in the sun to a large extent. Maybe it's because of I'm seeing this happen with many libertarians from Argentina. They're calling them Javier Milei widows. And I posted about that this morning. I saw that Javier Milei just liked that tweet. So it's like, it's some meme down there about Javier Milei widows. And these are libertarians who turned on Milei when he didn't like include them in his coalition or give them like posts in government or acknowledge them for whatever reason. They're writing articles against him in Reason magazine, attacking him for all of these lies, and they're spreading all these lies and distortions about him and what he's doing. And they're also very much doing that against people like us here.
Yep.
They're kind of like, as I think Lou Rockwell calls them, regime libertarians to a certain extent. It's
Yes.
kind of sad.
Yeah, there's regime libertarians. I think there's also just sour grapes. I mean, to be fair, this is our first real foray into federal politics. And it was for most of them, the Argentinian libertarians as well. And so some of it is just going to be like, I can't believe you didn't include me. And he's going to have various reasons for doing and not doing that. You know, like with the cabinet picks, people are like, how can it be Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? I'm so mad. With all due respect, none of you have any idea how difficult it is to vet someone, to find someone who is going to pass Senate confirmation, who is qualified and who is available. I have been working on this for months. A handful of you helped me. Thank you so much. Most of you did not. It's really, really challenging. Matt Gaetz, I want him for AG. Of course I do. He couldn't pass. You know, Rick
Is that the
Grinnell,
problem,
I
though,
wanted-
Angela? Is that really the problem here? Is that we don't have a bench of people who could, one,
Yes.
make us, who have experience, who we've talked about this before, but I mean, I think the Senate confirmation process is a real eye-opener moment for us libertarians to be that we don't have a bench of people who could actually fill these roles.
It's correct. We do not. Our strongest people are academics. And trust me, I have gone through all of the websites of our prominent people. I have done lots of searches. At one point, I ended up just scrolling through a list of names on Wikipedia. I've taken phone calls from our major donors. I've gone through, and a lot of those names, by the way, did get submitted. And I'm hoping that they're going to go into senior positions, just not cabinet picks. And we have been promised additional roles as well. And by the way, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., to his credit, has already submitted a bunch of our names, and I have taken vetting phone calls from the transition team. So we are getting libertarians. Whatever, you know, you think the real definition of a libertarian is, some of those people are making it in. But we do not have people who are going to be able to withstand the scrutiny of a Senate confirmation hearing.
Mhm.
Remember what Justice Kavanaugh went through. It's not just like a walk in the park.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is not. Angela, you know, I been around the block a few times, and I've done a convention battle or two in the Libertarian Party and in the Republican Party, and I've seen some savvy operators and I've seen some not so savvy operators. I think that you're probably one of the big success stories. You know, we come out of the same movement, right? The Ron Paul libertarian, you know, right-wing libertarian, the Mises type libertarians. And, you know, I've practiced a little bit of tough love on some of my Ron Paul right-wing libertarians especially in the last year, where we've had some clashes, for example, where I had some dust-ups with Dave Smith on foreign policy and some sincere differences of opinions on those things. But I think that there is an opportunity under the Trump administration, and if we navigate the next few years appropriately and take advantage of this libertarian moment, that we can actually make real advances for liberty that are going to help our children to not have to pay such a big national debt, that maybe our disagreements on esoteric concepts of foreign policy regarding the Middle East, or what's happening with Ukraine and Russia, or Taiwan and the chips and the way that we protect American merchant shipping overseas since 1776, maybe those esoteric concepts and struggles can wait for another day, because the opportunity that is presenting ourselves is right underneath our noses to reform the FDA under Robert F. Kennedy Jr., to protect our civil liberties via Tulsi Gabbard and her being the head of the Director of National Intelligence, and to keep an eye on the pit bulls that he seems to have hired, Marco Rubio, the neocon to be the Department of State, and others that we need to keep under lock and key in hopes that we never have to unleash those neocons, the dogs of war, in an actual scenario. If we really want peace and we want freedom, We need to protect our civil liberties and focus on what's winnable. I want to give you the floor, and this is Thanksgiving week, and I've been really grateful for you, Angela, and the way that you've navigated the minefields of the last year. I think you've done so with grace and aplomb. So I'd like you to take the floor and tell us what you're thankful for this year and what you're looking forward to in next year.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you giving me a platform to tell my side of the story and explain where I'm coming from. You know, I'm going to say I'm extremely grateful to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for going to bat for us at Mar-a-Lago in the transition team and dealing with all the cabinet pick stuff. It's really difficult. You're dealing with all kinds of special interest groups, senators who we have learned there are GOP senators who are pushing back aggressively against Donald Trump's America First initiative, including libertarians, all of that stuff. So it's nothing to sneeze at. Kennedy and his team have done a fantastic job of advocating for us. I'm extremely grateful to Rick Grinnell for including us in all of this. And he was the one that really spearheaded the initiative and outreach. I wish he had been the next Secretary of State. He's not a libertarian. He's not perfect by any means, but he was a deal maker and someone who helped make deals for us. So I hope that we see him get a prominent position in the administration at some point. You know, I'm really grateful to all of the people who have actually backed me. We don't talk about them as much because they're not as loud and aggressive, and I don't have to deal with them in lawfare and the administrative lawfare that I also have to deal with internally. But you know, my supporters and people who understand this strategy, you know, like, thank you so much. You've been incredible, and you have helped make this possible. The people who voted for me at the National Convention, the people who show up for me, you guys helped to get the ball, you know, into the end zone. You know, that's really it, you know, and of course I'm very grateful for the lovely little family I have, and I hope to add another baby soon, maybe sometime next year, you know. That's the plan. That's the plan. Nothing to report on yet, but it's just something I hope happens in the future.
Same here. Me too, Angela. I hope your family grows.
Thank you.
And I wish you blessings in the new year. Thank you for your time, being so generous with your time. And thank you for fighting for liberty, Angela. There's only one Angela McArdle out there, and we're grateful for all that you do. Thank you for being so generous with your time. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. What do you guys think of Angela McArdle? Didn't you do a great job? I know some of you were kind of Angela McArdle haters for a little while, and now you've become supporters. You love to see it. Thanks, guys. Hey, it's the holiday season. So do yourselves a favor and head over to forlibertyshop.com. Support the next phase of the revolution. Go to forlibertyshop.com. We have got our Black Friday deals early. They're starting. So make sure that you're on the text messaging list. If you go to forlibertyshop.com, you're going to see that pop-up of the spin to win. But don't shut it down. You're like, oh, no, it's annoying. It's a pop-up. No, that's how you guys get to all of the coupons. And we created a bunch of like product bundles. So you can get like $20 off the Founding Father stained glass whiskey glass collection. So if you see this pop up, it says spin to win, put your phone number in there, guys, and spin the wheel. And then once you do that, you might get 20% off your discount off your cart that day. So you can even get a nice little discount right away. So head on over to forlibertyshop.com. The best Department of Government efficiency merch in the world is at forlibertyshop.com. Some of these items you guys have specifically requested. Look at Cecilia. She's so cute. She's got her Department of Government efficiency merch on there. You can see you can tell she's got some puppies. Fellow puppy lover. Cecilia's got her Department of Government efficiency hoodie on. Since it's getting colder out there, guys, it's time to bundle up with a little bit of freedom. People love the Field Agent Bomber, but I'm so excited. I cannot freaking wait until my Field Agent jacket gets in, guys. Check this out. Hold on. Where is it? I specifically designed it so you'd look like a Fed, but we are not a Fed, right? Not a Fed.
Oh, God!
Oh, God, no.
God, please,
where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Yes, the Department of Government Efficiency Field Agent jacket. It's got your official Doge logo on the front. Or I say unofficial. It's unofficial Doge logo. And then on the back it says Doge Field Agent, looking like Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. You know what I'm saying? I ate his budget. with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. You can only get those at forlibertyshop.com, so head on over there, guys, and exit through the Grift Shop. We'll see you guys right back here tomorrow morning. Happy Thanksgiving on the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Bye, guys.
Capitalism. How
2 years ago.
And I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor of your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP4 Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at ap4libertyshop.com.